Good evening, everyone. I would like to call our City Council meeting for Wednesday, February 27th, 2017 to order. At this moment, for our time for moment of silence, I want to recognize two people to remember today. First, I had the opportunity to do a special ceremony for Victor Hugo Schmidt on his 100th birthday today. He, up until a few years ago, was still skating every day at the River's Edge, and he had the ceremony down there with his family there. I realized there was an older lady who came up, and she said hello, and I realized it was his daughter, but of course, being 100, she's not a young kid. But it was really great seeing him, how he, born and raised in Davenport, has been here his whole life, fought in Iwo Jima in World War II, worked at the Arsenal, and again, a great citizen, and it was great talking to him about his time. And also one, sadly, who won't be with us tonight is Mr. Richard Bittner, a very, very good friend of mine, a philanthropist in the community with the Bechtel Trust, invested probably $85 million in the community through the trust. A great guy. We're going to have a visitation on Sunday with the funeral on Monday. But both of these individuals lived long lives and did a tremendous amount of things for a lot of people throughout the community. So with that, a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask two of my grandchildren to come up for a moment, and they're going to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, Cinta. Alderman Congdon. Thank you, Eli and Sintayu. Brian, would you call the roll, please?
Ambrose.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Rawson.
Here.
Dickman.
Here.
Tompkins.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
McGinnis.
Here.
Kluhl.
Here.
Matson.
Here.
And Dunn.
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Brian. And again, a good evening. And as we begin this meeting of our City Council, I would again like to welcome all those in attendance and those who are watching and viewing this meeting on television or on the internet. We respectfully welcome your comments and opinions, and please keep in mind that as you talk to the council, you're also sharing your thoughts with fellow Davenporters and with viewers throughout the region by way of our TV broadcast. We are happy that you are participating in your city government and ask that your participation reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport an even greater place for all of our citizens. For the children, adults, seniors, and families in our community, those in attendance and those watching at home, I thank you for joining us. At this time, we ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones and other electronic handheld devices as they can interfere with the audio system here in the chambers. If you wish to address the council on a specific item on the discussion agenda, you are encouraged to do so during that discussion item. You will also have an opportunity to address the City Council under Public with Business. That portion of the meeting will occur towards the end. When addressing the council, I ask that you step to the podium, wait to be recognized by myself, and speak to the council as a body and not to any single member. We will ask that you limit your remarks to no more than 5 minutes, and I ask that everyone observe, and I know you all will, the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. So again, thank you for being here. With that, I think we're going to move, first of all, will an alderman move approval of the minutes of the City Council meeting for February 13th? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Those are approved. Is there a city administrator update this evening?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Administrator Spiegel. Will an alderman move approval of the report of the Committee of the Whole for February 20th, 2019? It's been simultaneously moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. We have a proclamation and one presentation this evening. First, Alderman Condon is going to make the proclamation.
Proclamation. Whereas National Association of Women in Construction, NAWIC, Quad Cities Chapter Number 50, has distinguished itself for 56 years as the voice of women in construction in the Quad City area. And whereas the work done by NAWIC Quad Cities Chapter Number 50 has benefited Davenport through community development and educational programs, and whereas NAWIC Quad Cities Chapter Number 50 has continuously promoted the employment and advancement of women in the construction industry, and whereas the construction community, represented by NAWIC Quad Cities Chapter Number 50, has been a driving force in fostering community development through renovation and beautification projects, promotion of skilled trades careers, and a positive vision for the future. And whereas NAWIC Quad Cities Chapter Number 50 has sought to achieve successful results for Davenport and surrounding areas in a cooperative spirit with other organizations. Now, therefore, we, Mayor Frank Klipsch, and the Davenport City Council do hereby recognize NAWIC Quad Cities Chapter Number 50 and its many dedicated volunteers for its steadfast work on behalf of support of women in construction, and do hereby proclaim March 3rd through the 9th, 2019, as 2019 Women in Construction Week in the city of Davenport, and encourage our citizens to congratulate the organization on its many accomplishments. Dated this 27th of February, 2019.
Move the proclamation.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Great. I think we'll have Beth Beverland from the NAWIC, and Julia Meyer of Civil Inc. is going to come up and receive the proclamation. Thank you for your work. Thank you. Is there anything else? Please. Let's do a photo op first. That's great. Thank you. Julia, please.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Quad Cities Chapter 50, I thank the City of Davenport for this proclamation for WIC Week of 2019. NAWIC's mission is to enhance the success of women in the construction industry. We provide awareness of the opportunities available for women and to emphasize the growing role of women in the construction industry. It's also time for local chapters like ourselves to give back to the communities. Chapter 50 does so during the year with its scholarship program, and also by partnering with local agencies such as Humility of Mary, Dress for Success, Winnie's Place, and the Iowa Women Lead Change. This year we will be serving a meal at the Humility of Mary shelter this coming Sunday, March 3rd. Thank you again for all of your support.
Thank you for all your great work.
Thank you.
And we have one presentation this evening. Again, as we recognize our local businesses that are truly the foundation of our community. And let me read the following information. Steve Stoltenberg grew up on a family farm in Kelowna Township. He attended Kelowna No. 7, a one-room schoolhouse, for his elementary education. Steve graduated from Durant High School in 1968, and after graduating, he attended Western Illinois University, and his choice of study was repair trade, graduating in 1971. Following his college graduation, Steve found himself working at a local music shop, the Bowlby Music House. Steve was so passionate about his new line of work that the owner of Bowlby Music, Gail Johnson, urged him to open his own business specializing in instruments. That is what he did. Steve opened doors to the Northwest Music Shop in August of 1972. Steve specializes in repairing, renting, and selling instruments as well as accessories. Northwest Music moved to its current location, a new location at 1411 Washington Street in March of 1974. 45 years later, this still remains the home of Northwest Music. Steve remains very active in the band community, participating in 3 bands, the Bob Gaston Casey New Horizons Band, the Tri-County Band, and the Orion Band. One interesting fact is Steve was responsible party for gathering vintage instruments for the filming of the Bix Beiderbecke movie, and was even cast to participate in the scene filming the Whitman Orchestra. We want to thank Steve Stoltenberg and Northwest Music for your 47 years of fantastic customer service, as well as your continued contributions to the economic growth, music community, and the hometown melody of Davenport, Iowa. Northwest Music is the mainstay of the historic Washington Street neighborhood, and another wonderful example of one of Davenport's local businesses that are the foundation of our community. Steve, let me come around. brick signifies that foundation of community, and it reads, "Local business, the foundation of our community, recognizing the unique businesses of Davenport, Iowa. Northwest Music Shop, February 2019." Congratulations, Steve. Thank you. Thank you very much. You want to say just a couple words? You don't have to. It's up to you.
Well,
You can say thank you if you want.
okay. I want to thank everybody for this award. There was one little slight mistake on the, it was Western Iowa Tech Community College is where I went to school to learn the band instrument repair, which was in Sioux City, Iowa.
Well, thank you, Steve,
Thank
and
you.
thanks for your long-term support of this committee. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our next area, and we're doing the petitions and communication from our council and myself. We're going to start with Alderman McGinnis as our community engagement chair.
Thank you, Your Honor. Young people interested in employment can attend the Mayor's Youth Job Fairs in late February and early April. The first one is tomorrow, February 28th. Employers will be at the J.B. Young Opportunity Center. And then the second one's on Thursday, April 4th at North High School. Both job fairs will run from 3 to 6 p.m., and job seekers from age 14 to 24 are welcome to attend. And just a reminder that jobs with the City of Davenport are always posted on the city's website. And right now, look today, there are 18 job openings for full and part-time positions, so you might want to check those out. In the community, Lifeboat, it's an award-winning half-hour documentary about the harrowing journey of North African refugees who risk their lives on the high seas, and people who help them to save their lives will be screened on Friday, March 1st at 7 p.m. the Galvin Fine Arts Center and St. Ambrose campus. There is a Q&A after the film. There's no charge, and donations will be taken for not-for-profit refugee rescue organization. Now, we all know about snow emergency season, and it's quickly becoming parking ticket season as well. If you ended up parking maybe in a snow route, just to let you know, the City of Davenport does accept appeals using an online or paper application. Online, go to the city's website homepage, select Services on the drop-down menu, and then select Parking under Public Works. Paper forms are available downtown at City Hall or at the Public Works Department on 46th Street. And now for the free stuff. This is at the library. It's two good events. If you're a local high school teen looking for that special dress for prom or another event, you might just find it at the Fairmont Library Dress Giveaway. It's on Saturday, March 2nd, 10 a to 4 p, where you can browse among donated, gently used prom dresses. And then for gardeners, since it's a little bit early for outside planting, and the houseplant swap at Fairmont might just scratch that fingers in the dirt itch that gardeners get as spring starts to come, and I know that feeling. The fun begins at 10 a.m. on March 9th. Bring a plant to share. It's like a cookie swap without the calories. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman McGinnis. Alderman Rawson.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I have just a few announcements this evening. The first is we're having finally the 5th Ward meeting. It kept getting rescheduled in January because of, guess what? The weather. So that will be coming up next Tuesday at Madison Elementary in the Media Center at 6 p.m. Brandon Wright, the Chief Financial Officer, who we'll hear from in a bit, and the Assistant City Administrator will be delivering a riveting, fascinating discussion on the city budget. And then we'll take questions from the audience. I'm prepping him ahead of time. So everyone's welcome to attend. If you have some interest in learning more about the city budget, how it's put together, and how it's done, please feel free to come to Madison next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Two other items. Tomorrow, which is a busy day here in the community for events, Sister Cities is hosting a workshop from 2 to 5 p.m. Downtown at the Scott Community College Urban Campus, and it's free to the public, and it's for people who have an interest in learning more about Sister Cities and kind of the structure of the organization and kind of the citizen diplomacy work that we do. I will be in attendance since I do a lot of work with Sister Cities, and it's a wonderful organization and extending that reach across other cultures and increasing cultural understanding and awareness. After the workshop that starts at 2 and ends at 5, Duck City is hosting a fundraiser for K Square, Kaiserslautern Square downtown. And that is a square that's been dedicated to our sister city, Kaiserslautern, Germany. And that's our oldest sister city relationship at 60 years. That starts at 5 o'clock. There is a cover charge, but all that money goes toward the fundraiser for K Square. And in case you didn't know, the delegation is coming here from Kaiserslautern April 10th through the 18th. So they will be here in town and will be here at council that last Wednesday before they head out. So we'll see them here. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Rusin. Alderman Condon.
Thank you. You may have noticed that some of us look extra important today, and I've been encouraged to give an explanation. So some of us are sporting our new city council stickers, and this was honestly just born out of the fact that I have 2 boys at home, and with all deference to the police and fire, they worship you guys, but I was starting to get a little upset that I wasn't commanding any respect around the house. And so since the little ones came, we finally brought the stickers down, and I couldn't be more tickled that for some reason everyone started putting them on. So,
Even the young at heart can
yeah.
have one.
But now we have new stickers, and who knows, maybe it'll lead to some future leaders in the community.
Thank you, Alderman Condon. That was great. A couple quick announcements. One, I mentioned earlier about Mr. Bittner's passing. Again, he's been a mainstay for this community for a long time, but also related specifically to the city, as Alderman Rawson mentioned, Kaiserslautern Square. He's made a contribution to that as one of the challenges to help us get that completed. He helped actually get us a couple new police officers and build a public safety fund that was able to do some more police officers and school resource officers. Also some work on the riverfront and the carousel, and there's a unbelievably toll, all based on kids and protection of kids and so forth. So again, he will be missed. Another one is tomorrow will be the Rock Island Arsenal Black History Month celebration or remembrance tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, and I know you could still go if you would like to do that. A couple of us mayors with the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative, myself, Mayor Tomes, and Mayor Gallagher are going to Washington, D.C. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. We have meetings scheduled both at the White House and with Speaker of the House Pelosi on a couple different initiatives, some of which related to the flooding, some relate to a investment fund to look at riverfront development and funding, plus transportation issues and the effects that we're dealing with budget crisis at the national level, what that's going to do to us here. So we'll bring you back some information related to that, and that's funded by the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative as well, so let you know that. Also, one other thing I got just a short time ago, and I'm going to read this very quickly. It came to me and the city workers of Davenport. On Thursday, January 31st, the daytime high temp was a minus 15, the wind chill temp was minus 30. I was waiting for the number 9 bus to downtown. A city Davenport van stopped, and the driver asked if I was waiting for a bus. I said yes, and the driver offered to drive me to my destination. Inside the van were 6 more bus riders being given a ride to their destinations. Thank you to the mayor and the city workers and all of my colleagues up here for the forethought to rescue many bus riders on a terribly cold day. I think that's another good example of our people going above and beyond. We know we kept the libraries open as well as warming houses, so it is something we do what we can to for as many people as we can. So with that, I want to move on. Any other items from any of my colleagues? Seeing none, we want to move some individual items on our discussion agenda. The first one is a second consideration, ordinance case number REZ 18-18, request for Ahmad Ismail for WK Development to rezone 0.83 acres more or less of property located immediately northwest of the intersection of Elsie Avenue and West Kimberly Road from an R5M medium-density residential to C2 general commercial district. Is there anyone from the public with any comments? It's been moved and seconded. Will you call the roll? Roll call, please.
Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Kluhl,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
and Ambrose.
Thank
10
you.
yeses
That
here.
will move to the third consideration, but the Committee of the Whole recommends suspension of the rules and passage on this second consideration. Is there a motion for suspension of the rules? It's been moved and seconded. Roll call for the suspension of the rules.
I'm sorry, I lost my place. Hold on.
Rawson?
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon.
Yes.
10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Now, is there a motion for the passage of the third consideration? It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes.
Rawson.
Yes.
10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. We're giving you a roll call for bonanza tonight, Brian, so don't you know that. Next, we have first consideration for ordinance providing for the sale and issuance of not to exceed $24,085,000 of general obligation corporate bonds, Series 2, 2019, for the levy of taxes to pay the same. That goes to all of us, obviously. At this time, I'd like to call up Brandon Wright and John Burmeister to give us a little more information. We had some very good news today, and I'm delighted to have you guys present that.
Thank you, Mayor. Brandon Wright, CFO and Assistant City Administrator. Yes, today was an exciting day for us. We had our bond sale this morning that closed at 10 a.m. We had a lot of interest on our bonds and ultimately lowered our true interest cost from our last year's issuance by about 11 basis points. So great news for the City of Davenport. To go over all the fine details of that, I'm going to turn over to John Burmeister. He's with PFM, and then when he's done, I'll probably say a couple more comments about substituting the ordinance for this evening.
Thank you, Brandon. Along your packet somewhere, you should have a tabular, or actually results of sale. As Brandon indicated, we did have a successful sale today. You can see that we ended up having 12 underwriters, syndicates, proposing to bid. We ended up getting 10 proposals today. And you can see on the very front page, you had Robert W. Baird. And if my accounting's right, there's 28 different underwriters in that syndicate alone. And it's just an impressive array of different locations and across the United States, New Jersey, here in the Midwest, Minnesota, Missouri, Virginia, Tennessee, California, Miami, Florida. Wouldn't it be nice to be there today? Georgia, New York. And so you're pulling from all over the United States. You can see in the lower right-hand corner, the true interest cost came in at 2.64. I had mentioned to Brandon, I was hoping at 3% was kind of my bogey. What's interesting, as Brandon pointed out to me, is this interest rate here is lower than what we had last year at this time, right around in March, which surprised me. Rates have come down over 0.5% since November of 2018. So since you sold last year, they went up, and now they've come down actually to a level lower than where you sold last year. And the other thing that I think was exciting about today's sale is there's a lack of supply out there. There's not very many bond issues being sold. Last year we were down 20-25% in the market, so the market is shrinking. So people are chomping at the bit to get paper to sell to their investors. That's the indicator. That's another reason why your bonds went so well. The other thing is the bonds are relatively short. You're doing 15-year term versus 20, which means your par amount of the box size of the maturities are very attractive to the institutional investors. They were very aggressively bidding on those. After we did receive the bids, were able to decrease the par amount of the bonds down to $21,590,000. So that should be part of the motion this evening, and you can see that resulting in a 2.6651%. And I'll open up to any questions you may have.
I just would, again, thank you for your work. You're a tremendous asset to us, you and PFM and the whole group, and we do. I did want to mention, just for clarification of what we're doing here, we put in a general placeholder for the sale, and then we got the specific details now, and Brandon's going to detail that for us now in the substitution to the exact numbers.
Correct. After you hear from the public this evening, and after the motion is moved on that, I'd be happy to get back up and walk you through substituting the ordinance itself to reflect the results of today's bond sale.
Okay, thank you. Is there any from the public want to talk about this? Any comments? It's been moved and seconded. Now I'm going to have Brandon come up, and what we're going to do is get the exact numbers in. That's what we're going to vote on first here. Vote on a voice vote on the substitution.
I was sure there was going to be a line here, so I wanted to.
You are
get
stimulating,
the back.
Brandon.
Yes, exactly.
Stimulating.
Thank you, Alderman Rawson. Yes, so you have, we did place at each of your positions there on the dais, you have a copy of the ordinance that we're proposing to substitute. It's an ordinance providing for the sale and issuance of $21,590,000 of general obligation corporate bonds, Series 2019, and for the levy of taxes to pay the same. This ordinance reflects today's bond sale with the award to, hold on one second, Robert W. Baird and Company, Inc. of Red Bank, New Jersey, with the par amount of $21,590,000 and a true interest cost of 2.643409%.
Thank you. First of all, I think we need a motion for the substitution. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Now we will, is there any other discussion from the alderman with the substituted information in place? Hearing none, will the clerk call the roll, please?
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes?
Rawson,
Yes.
and Dickman.
Yes.
10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you, and explaining a little what we're doing, we are going to, the committee to hold does recommend suspension of the rules. We've got this information, want to move it forward. Normally, it takes 3 considerations, so I'd like to, again, is there a motion for suspension of the rules? Okay, roll call, please.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes?
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you. Normally, again, we would take 3 readings. We're now gonna have a motion for passage of the second and third considerations now. Is there a motion and a second? There's a motion and a second to pass this on the second and third considerations now. Again, will you call the roll, please?
I think I lost my place again.
You can pick anyone and.
Okay,
Start somewhere.
okay. McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip.
Yes.
10 yeses, and I am sorry.
That's okay. No, we're fine. Like I said, we're giving you the roll call bonanza tonight. That ordinance has been adopted. The next is a resolution approving the 2019 Urban Revitalization Tax Exemption Project. Is there any public with comment on this item, which we've discussed in the past?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion by anybody? Other aldermen? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
I've got my place. So Cluel,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes?
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
and McGinnis.
Yes, except I'm abstaining from voting on the projects at 421, 423, and 425, 427 Brady, 321 East 2nd Street, 705 Gaines Street, and 800 Isabel Bloom Way.
Thank you. Duly
10
noted.
yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you. With that resolution is adopted.
I'm sorry, I lost my place, and
Oh, you
I
didn't
need to
finish calling out
abstain
the
from
rolling?
224
Oh,
West
I'm sorry.
3rd
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I need to abstain on that prior to 224 West 3rd Street, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Now we've got all those done. Everybody has got their roll call vote in, and good. That resolution is adopted. And now we have a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Jersey Ridge Road Turn Lane Project Phase 2 at Cromwell Circle and 65th Street intersections by extending the sidewalk and pedestrian trail, which is, at this time, is there any public with comments on this item? It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion by any of our aldermen? Alderman Grip.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was just going to ask if we could have Clay come up, and I'd like to thank you for the diagram that you provided to council this week. That was exactly what I was looking for. So if you could talk about the shared use path on the west side of the street, and then the sidewalk on the right side, whose duties are what for each one. Then the future of sidewalks on Jersey Ridge, because right now we don't have any long-term plan or funding to widen that road to 3 lanes or anything like that, but potentially when would sidewalks come in all the way up Jersey Ridge? and then the cost of the sidewalk installation for the neighbors, and then the reason for the cost.
Okay. I'll pick the long-term planning for Jersey Ridge Road. First, apologies, Clay Merritt Public Works. As we go through, we do not have it in our long-term plan to, at this moment, widen Jersey Ridge in that section. It would be at that time that we would then install sidewalks. It's not an urbanized section, so there's no curb and gutter, and it's not graded for sidewalk at this time. As far as the actual project, it is the installation of a 10-foot path on the west side of Jersey Ridge Road from Cromwell Circle up to the new recreational trail at Veterans Memorial Parkway, and then sidewalk on the east side from East 65th Street all the way up to connecting to the recreational trail on the east side of the road of the intersection. The original part of the project was just the recreational trail. However, as the City Council has asked staff in the last couple of years to start putting sidewalk so that where there are missing pieces of connectivity, as you see it from the map that was provided, that will be a missing connection from that neighborhood, whether its only entrance and exit is from East 65th. And so this sidewalk there would get them up to the newly constructed recreational trail. Originally, a few years ago, the City Council approved a series of projects in that section of the city, such as a neighborhood park, the roundabout at Jersey Ridge. There was Utica Ridge sidewalk on the west side all the way up to Veterans Memorial Parkway, and those did not, assessments for those were waived by the council. So the staff believes that as we put in the trail on this section of Jersey Ridge in association with the council wanting us to put in more sidewalk, it's a good time to put this sidewalk in, and that we would hold no cost to the property owners at this time. However, if the City Council decides that they wish for us to take that out of the project, we will gladly do that. But should a future council decide to put the sidewalk in or ask the property owners to put the sidewalk in, per city code, it is the property owner's responsibility, and they will bore 100% of the cost. I think did I miss a question?
You got them all. Thank
Okay.
you. Appreciate it, Clay.
Thank you, Clay. Alderman Tompkins.
Thank you. Thank you, Clay, for clarifying all that. I just wanted to share also just one more piece from my comment from last week. The reason that we're trying to make those connections is because many of us have received complaints from citizens that there are areas that unfortunately lack where they walk, and then there's no sidewalk. So we appreciate staff. I appreciate staff going through and identifying those areas as we continue to move forward to try to make more connectivity throughout the city. So thank you.
Alderman Mattson. I'm sorry. I'm out of order. Go ahead, Alderman Mattson.
Okay, thank you.
Then
So
go back to Alderman Ambrose.
I'll just kind of dovetail on what Ms. Tompkins said. I think it's a good policy, and I encourage you to keep, every time we do it, we need to connect these sidewalks and figure this out, because I've been on council a long time, and every now and then we would, quite frankly, give you a hard time. Some we do, some we don't. Some we do, some we don't. And it would mess you guys' heads up all over the place over there. So we need to stay steadfast, I think, in our policy to put sidewalks in when we can. I get that sometimes it's a little kittywampus because of developments in certain areas, but I support that policy, and I think we need to continue to do that, and so I encourage you to keep pressing us on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. And Alderman Ambrose.
Clay, maintaining the sidewalk, on both sides, who's responsible?
Per city code, the homeowner is responsible for maintaining their sidewalk. For the 10-foot recreational trail, that is done by the city.
Coming off of winter, or I guess we're still challenged, but maintaining these sidewalks on main drives during winter, it's really a huge demand on the neighbors, and the neighbors are down sharing their concern about it. If the city's maintaining across the street and we're ordering in these sidewalks, they're about half the size of the recreational path,
I believe these are 5-foot sidewalks.
and the recreational path
It
is
is 10 feet,
half the size.
half the size.
So, it's I really can't support this because of the maintenance. And if you drive down the street and look how challenging it is going to be for the homeowners to come down and clear the sidewalk, I think it's unfair demand on them. But thanks for the presentation, Clay. As usual, you've done a magnificent job.
Thank you, Clay, and thank you for the discussion. I think we're going to, again, vote on this resolution. Roll call, please.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
and Cluel.
Yes.
9 yeses, 1 no, Your Honor.
Thank you for your, all your help on all of this, for all of you. Last is a motion approving the liquor license for an outdoor area for March 16, 2019, St. Patrick's Day events for Shenanigans Here We Go Again Incorporated at 303 West 3rd Street. License type C liquor. Is there any public wants to talk on this item? Okay, it has been moved and seconded. I'm going to ask Tom, if you would, to explain exactly how we're voting on this so we get this straight here.
So everything that appears on a council agenda is in the affirmative. So if you want them to have the outdoor service area, you vote yes. If you do not wish them to have the outdoor service area, you vote no.
Okay, I think we're all clear. Okay, with that, would you call the roll, please? What?
Your Honor,
Any
I
discussion
think
by the Alderman?
Major Bladel has some
Oh, thank you.
information for you.
Yes. Thank you, Major Bladel.
Your Honor, elected officials, Jeff Bladel, your Assistant Chief. Yes, thank you for the opportunity to discuss this. As an overview, I'm going to provide statistics for the last 6 months regarding this establishment, as well as highlight 3 particular calls that I want to bring to your attention. I do have a short video as an example of some of the calls that the officers are dealing with at this business, and then a few closing comments. So everything that I'm presenting is from police reports, from calls to dispatch. The information is also directly related to this establishment. The calls for service are Shenanigans, the address of 303 West 3rd. So overall, 24 calls for service, 1 assault, 12 disturbances, and 6 public services. So those are the bulk of it. Public services are any calls from us being called to locate somebody, check the welfare, somebody who may need a ride. So nothing terribly pressing. 1 assault that I want to bring your attention in September 24th, where a female patron was assaulted by a group of females within the bar, knocked down and continued to be assaulted within the club. Once the security staff at the club broke it up, they ended up removing everybody from the club and tossing them out. In fear, she left the area and ended up calling police at a later time to report that incident. Subsequently, her purse and all of her personal belongings were stolen in the course of the assault, which were used to commit multiple frauds. Ultimately, we did make an arrest in the case, but I just want to bring that to your attention. Disturbances, 12 disturbances. Majority of these disturbances we're seeing are involving quite significantly large fights. On the November 18th of 2018, we had a disturbance that started within the establishment that spilled out into the street and continued into the street, and several people engaged in violent and fighting behavior. 1 person was subsequently hurt. There were other individuals from another bar who actually went and helped this individual and took him to another bar to help call for police. And then they ultimately scattered when we arrived on scene. And then kind of recently, on the 17th of February, we had another disturbance that started with inside the establishment that was pushed out and spilled out into the street. The crowd was around 60 people, actively fighting anywhere from 10 to 15 people. We had 2 officers at that time available for the service call that were trying to maintain the crowd and break up the crowd. The crowd subsequently continued to move south towards the parking ramp, and additional fights scattered. At that time, we were currently working another sensitive case, or a case that took a significant amount of staffing and manpower. And we utilized resources from Bettendorf Police and Scott County to assist us with that call. Arrests were made in that call. So I'm going to play a video from the November 18th disturbance, and then I'll just show you, they give you an overview of kind of some of the things that we're experiencing. Here. And there is no sound. So the shenanigans is on your left-hand side, and then that is 3rd Street that we're looking at here. So right now, people are spilling out of the bar, and I'll let you guys take a look at it from there. That is the point where they went over and helped an individual who was getting assaulted in the street over there and took him back to the other establishment. Okay, also in that, if you didn't see at the initial point, the security staff from this establishment actually pushed people out and were in kind of outside in front when the fight started, but then they went back inside of the business. So everything ended up spilling out and pretty much agitating there on the sidewalk that kind of went into our street. It's unrealistic for me to say that we're not going to have fights. We're not going to have intoxicated people at bars or places of where alcohol is served. What makes this different is the amount and magnitude of disturbances and the amount of people that we're dealing with. Again, as we discussed, in previous times, it is a big staffing issue. It is a big public safety issue. These are some of the things that have been very challenging. We have a great staff. We have a great crime prevention unit, and our crime prevention unit has a service that we provide to do security assessments for businesses when they request it. We've had these conversations with this establishment, and we have yet to have any kind of requests or any kind of request for our services. So, again, overall, the large scale of these disturbances are creating a huge public safety issue, and it's seemingly concentrated on this business. Okay, so.
Thank you, Major Bladel.
Thank you.
Any other questions anybody has? Alderman Tompkins, you may want to stay up if you would, Major Bladel, just for a moment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this information and for the video. That's certainly very telling. I think you answered my question, but I just wanted to clarify. I know that with public safety that you can have meetings with the owner. Do you know the last time that you guys have sat down to talk about these concerns? I'm just curious if it's been, I mean, this has been an ongoing issue for quite some time. So I was just curious, maybe within the last 6 to 12 months.
I don't believe we had a meeting last 6 months.
Okay.
It's been a little bit of time since we've met with the establishment.
Okay, and understanding, as you clarified, thank you, that we do offer this service to help, like you said, go through an assessment. But the business has to reach out and make that request. And I know that you guys have offered that many times. So just to clarify, they continue to not choose that service.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Mattson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't know if I have a question for you, Assistant Chief, but hang on, maybe. So carrying on with a little bit what Ms. Tompkins said, I know I've been in a meeting with Mr. Warner and other folks years ago, before even Mayor Klipsch's time, with Mayor Gluba and the owner, discussing safety perimeters, giving ideas of what can be done. So this has been going on a while. I know your folks have come to us many times and talked to us about concerns. We have voiced concerns here many times, and we take a pride in our downtown and having people go there, and it's been such an improvement. So when the thing that continues to be a concern for me is the resources that we have to commit, taking away from the rest of the city in the evening, for example, or when some major event is going on that calls your department to react to. This place keeps coming up as a huge resource-driven thing that takes away from other parts of the city. I've spoken on it numerous times. I will continue to speak on it. I don't understand why that establishment won't work, or doesn't seem to. I can't speak for them, obviously. Want to work with us and make their place and the rest of the place a collaborative safety thing. I'm confused by that. But we have talked about this a long time. I have personally been a witness prior to Ms. Rawson's time and Mr. Gripp's time on public safety, and many people here. We have dialogued, we have talked, we have engaged. Many people sitting here have been in those meetings and talked about this. I think we need to continue to do whatever we can to try and make the downtown safe and help you guys with your resources. And I'm not understanding why this place won't work and do that. So there's no way I'm going to support anything moving forward unless something hugely changes to show effort that they care. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. Alderman Ambrose.
Thanks, Your Honor. Mike's right. It's not only this establishment. You know, the state of Iowa continues to turn their back on the city of Davenport on these important issues, and it's, you know, to me, it's shameful. You know, they were closed because we refused to give them their license, and it was being appealed in Des Moines. And many of their clientele came up to a neighborhood bar in my neighborhood, and in that short time, there was 2 shootings and numerous other complaints. And it's common knowledge, most of the clientele had come up the hill from this place downtown. So I'm not going to support it. And, you know, until we get our local legislators to take this issue and get something done with it, you know, it's completely unfair to the good people of Davenport, not only downtown, but wherever we have establishments that can't be good neighbors. You know, who wants them in town?
Thank you. Alderman Cluel.
Thank you for the report, Measure Bladel. I appreciate the perspective of Senior Alderman and Alderman Ambrose's comments about the city continuing to bring us up with the state and the state remanding and coming back and saying no issue. Hopefully at some point the legislature will take into account that we are at the local level and understand what's going on. It's not for the betterment of the community. But in terms of perspective, I wonder if you could just talk about how many times in the last 5 years has staff denied a request or recommended that the city council deny?
Yeah, I wouldn't have that information.
Off of the top of my head, I can't answer that, Alderman Cluel. It's infrequent, but we've done it several times with shenanigans, but I know there are others too.
It just brings up the significance of this issue when this comes before the council. I mean, I'd sure rather a lot have our police out doing things in the community with nets and certainly better things to do with your time, so I will not support this as well.
Thank you. Alderman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just to clarify, and I think it is clear, but this kind of incident, we have a lot of businesses that are open, and bars that are serving alcohol in our downtown, which is of particular interest to me because this is part of the ward I represent, part of the 3rd Ward. Is this typical behavior for those other places, establishments? What we're seeing here, do you see that? Is that happening all over the city?
So, you know, like I said, it's kind of unrealistic to think that fights aren't going to occur
Right.
or
Mhm.
other issues. We do have fights at other bars downtown. We do have fights at bars across the city. But the concern and the issues are here is the magnitude of these fights, the larger scale, the continuation, you know, and a lot of those things could potentially be defused or even shut down within the organization before they get spilled out on the street and continue to fester. So we do have fights, but again, not to this scale. The scale is not that common.
All right. And just, I would say that, you know, this is part of the ward I represent, it's part of the 3rd Ward. It is a 3rd Ward neighborhood. And from my perspective, anything that is troublesome to neighborhoods I represent is going to be I'm going to have a problem with. And I do see this as a huge problem. And I believe the most recent incident was the same night, I believe, that there was the fire, that lives were saved. And so there were people working there. I know our resources are needed in other places, and that night was an example of that, where there was all kinds of our public safety personnel involved in saving people's lives, and I cannot countenance this use of resources, and I can't countenance this disruption in the fastest growing neighborhood in our city. It's just not appropriate for a neighborhood, and my wish would to see this establishment not have these incidents, go on operating without them. That would be the great outcome for me. But if it's not going to happen that way, then I'm going to have a difficult time supporting anything for them.
Alderman Congdon.
I'm frustrated that I can't support this outdoor event. I don't believe in villains, which is to say that I don't believe that the bar owner wants these fights to happen. But the owners do need to recognize somewhere there's a failure in their process or their procedures, and they are happening. I don't think it's too late to right this ship. In my experience, the police have been very realistic, patient, and have shown empathy in working with bars that are having these problems. So the fact of the matter is we're in this together. And so I just want to make one more plea to re-engage. It's not too late to make that a great part of downtown. But there's some work to be done. So I wish the bar would own that responsibility.
Thank you, Alderman Condon. Alderman Tompkins?
Thank you, Honor, for letting me allow to speak one more time. Alderman McGinnis, I just wanted to answer, just from my brief experience or my experience with public safety, we have had, as you said, it's unrealistic to think that this is not going to happen. And we've had it happen numerous times from when I sat on public safety. Alderman Mattson was on there as well. And what happens is we would meet with the owners or the managers of the establishments and work with them. The police department provide their assessment, provide some guidance and some feedback. And 100% of the time, those other establishments, they made those changes, and so those issues went away. In this instance, that's what we're missing. So absolutely, it does happen. We are a partner in that we want to make sure we can provide some feedback and make it a win-win for everybody, but unfortunately, this establishment continues to choose not to get involved. So that's the frustration here. So thank you.
Thank you all for that great discussion. I think we're going to now call for the roll. Realize that what you're, again, as Tom explained, a negative vote means you do not want to renew or provide this license.
The outdoor service area.
Outdoor services, okay? So as we're clear.
Dunn,
No.
Ambrose,
No.
Condon,
No.
Rawson,
No.
Dickman,
No.
Tompkins,
No.
Grip,
No.
McGinnis,
No.
Kluhl,
No.
and Mattson.
No.
That's 10 noes, Your Honor.
Okay, that motion did not pass. And now we're going to move on to approval of items on the consent agenda. Is there a motion to do so? It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes?
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Kluhl,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
and Dunn.
Yes.
10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. And is there any other ordinances, resolutions, or motions this evening? Seeing none, is there any public with business tonight?
I'm Mick Williams, 5th Ward. I just wanted to let you guys know, March 16th up in Iowa City is the Special Olympics Midwinter Games, where there will be basketball and also powerlifting. And I'm participating in powerlifting, and my personal best record last year for deadlift was 205 pounds. I'm attempting to break that record. So, and I'm leaving the day before. So, I just wanted to let you guys keep you guys informed. And I'm also still selling QC Storm tickets. So if you are interested, thank you, by the way, JJ, for supporting a good cause. So, thank you.
Thank you, Adam, and good luck on your event. Seeing no one else, there are reports tonight, and that's our civil service certification list for the following positions: firefighter engineer, fire lieutenant, fire captain, code enforcement officer 1, senior clerk, public service cashier, senior signal technician, plant operator 1, vehicle refinisher, packer driver loader, and sewer equipment operator. Will an alderman move the list? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. They are approved. Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Adjourned. Brian? to say hi to Grandma? Say hi, Mimi.
Hi, Grandma.